good to go. Excellent. Right. Thank you, Stefan. Thank you for all the other speakers so far today who've done an amazing job making this sound incredibly complicated. Wow. I am blown away by the complexity of this stuff sometimes. I come from a rather different background. I'm a game designer and writer for animations and TV and stuff. And so I'm going to be talking to you about writing, which is kind of what all of these background tech geniuses do to support and then to deliver so that the writers can create things which then filmmakers can do incredible stuff with. Because in the end of this entire pipeline is about making cool shit. And that's really what we're here for. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit. I'm going to tell you who I am. I'm Haggis-Burridge. Hi, nice to meet you all. I'm a professor of creative and entertainment video games, working here at Breda University of Applied Sciences. I am, like I said, by trade, a games designer. I'm a writer. I'm a narrative director. I have worked on various things over the years. Most recently, Satisfactory 1.0, which was released last year, if you like building sci-fi games and corporate satire. Go enjoy that. I had to write lots of jokes about rocks and stuff. So that was fun. Good challenge. Enjoyed that. I've been writing stories, animations, games, and short films for around about 25 years now. So this has basically been a huge part of what I do with my time. And it's something I find really fun. And I really encourage you to find the fun in doing this, along with other things. So I'm on the video game committee for the Writers Guild of Great Britain. I'm part of the Society of Authors. I'm one of the external evaluators for Creative Europe Media and Innovation Business Funds, and I've done a Horizon evaluations and stuff like that. I have my own Copperstone C company, which is basically a way I get consultancy to do work in my professorship. I'm one of the founding members of Breda Game City, which is about building community for games developers in this city here, among other things. They keep me very busy. But writing is a key part of my life. Like the last time I was doing creative writing was this weekend. I finished the first edit on a novel last Thursday. I write basically all the time. I love writing. I'm really, really passionate about this. And it is such an incredible way of expressing so many fun things. So I'm going to talk to you about the differences between, and similarities between writing for a small LED volume compared to doing writing for other things. For the last three years, I have been one of the people working on this VPSN project, connecting R&D, teaching, hands-on workshops, all these kind of things. If you want to know about VPSN, we've got a website, vpstudionnetwork.com. Great for industry, great for teachers, students. My colleagues have talked about it in further detail earlier today. Strongly recommend checking out some of the handbooks on there. Really love those. And some of the other research we've been doing. And we hope that there will be a follow-up later on in time. As part of this BUas work, I've been involved with writing a bunch of what kind of called micro scripts, 1 to 2 pages long for VP films. And I'm going to be sharing with you the things that I found useful to bear in mind whilst I was thinking about this. I'm going to go through a list of stuff, and I've got 7 main points on this that we're going to be talking about. Obviously, in the end of it is just about writing good stuff and just doing the best you can as you go through. I also like Kermit the Frog, so you're going to get many of them. I think there are 7 things that are worth really sticking in your mind with about screen size, character, why virtual production, digital and physical assets, craft, structure, and freedom. On the last slide when I do the thank you for listening slide, I'm going to have this and key points under each of those to think about. So if you want to take a photo there, that's going to be a good moment for it as well. You're welcome to take them during the talk, of course. So starting off with screen size. As you can see, the BUas stage is a medium-small virtual production size volume here. This is kind of how it looks all set up. You may have seen a couple of different photos of this shoot earlier. It's not this one. This is slightly larger. This can actually fit an aircraft inside it. This is a fairly small to medium size in comparison to what can be done. Like that's crazy. So what is the difference when you're thinking about writing for these kind of things? For this size, What's different about this? Well, small screens give you kind of two-ish main things to consider. We've got limited blocking, which is the actor movement, and we've got reduced options for staging, which is the framing by the camera. And I'll go into detail a little bit more about what they do for you as a writer in a second. And a bonus thing is prop budgets. And so I'm going to talk about each of those now. So in terms of blocking, how does this impact on the writing when we've got these kind of things? This is also a slightly more medium-sized thing, Iron Films. You may know Iron Films. They're one of our collaborators often. They do kind of customizable size screens for different productions. It's kind of one of their medium ones. They make bigger ones. They can make smaller ones. I want to show you a different medium-sized version. So if I'm writing for a screen like this, I can't really write a chase scene. I can't have people running through long corridors or big tracking shots through things. Like The West Wing, we got famous for doing these walk and talk shots where you'd have the president, who in this case was played by a competent person, who was going to be walking down these corridors, talking to people and negotiating and being very intensely intellectual. Complete fiction. And we had these things, these became very famous and synonymous with this particular type of film and this particular type of drama. I mean, you could probably do it if somebody rigged up a big treadmill, but not this shot. And if you can rig up a big treadmill, you probably can afford a bigger screen, to be honest. And even if I do rig up a treadmill, I can't show the ground unless I put the carpet of the corridor on the treadmill. No, just don't. It's way too complicated. It's getting too much. So as a writer, I've got to think about that kind of stuff. What can I really do with this technology here? So I have a limit of how my characters are going to be able to move around and interact with the space. That's basically the kind of key part of this here. So that's the blocking side of it. Let's also think about the panning of the camera. So turning the camera around, panning the camera, I can't really do that much in this kind of space. I could probably have it from here to here, but I've got quite a narrow frame. I need to make sure that the background is still blurred. It's going to get a little bit more complicated in this. And as I think about this as I'm writing, I'm thinking about how it's going to look. How would I film this? And of course, the DOP, the director, are going to make some different choices. I understand that. But I have to bear these things in mind. That if they're going to be running in a circle around a room, how am I going to make that work on the camera? So I could maybe write something that has a whip pan, perhaps. So a whip pan is when you really quickly turn the camera. And now you can kind of get away with that because if you do a whip pan, you can the camera shot is so blurred that you can actually cut the camera shot, do a new setup, have that new setup, whip pan into the camera shot, cut at the blur, and you could actually kind of get away with it. And it might look like you've just gone dump, dump, and there's still a VP wall there because you did the cut at the blur. But then you've got to do a whole different setup for the second shot, which takes time, it takes money, it's a lot more complicated. You've doubled your production, really. So think about how much you might need that. Think about how, as you're writing, how much of that whip pan is needed. That's literally a new setup of a stage. So I can probably write a short or kind of close-up tracking shot, like person moves across like this. I can move in a little bit, I can move around with them. And I encourage you to, as Stefan was just saying, having that sense of parallax through the camera moving, I think is really important for VP because it really just sells that sense of depth. So having some movement of the camera, I think, is really important in there, but you can't really do massive pans and things like that. Otherwise, it's going to get too much. So think about how you're going to be following that person around the space. So imagine if there was a close-up of me here. I could probably do this, and you could track with me, or you could follow me. But you don't want to be having me like kind of going, oh yeah, and you can't just have the camera following that way. So it's better to imagine a scene with limited, discrete shots and small camera movements. Really, think about keeping it small. Think about keeping it limited there. Full body actions are going to be harder to shoot, just by the nature of how much of the screen am I going to be able to get into the shot here. If I want to show feet, I'm going to need a floor that matches the scene. You can do that. You can build that. We've seen shots earlier today where student projects have built this. but it's complicated. Like there was a shot earlier today where they were moving all the sand around and there were clouds of dust coming up around. I was going, your poor equipment, all that dust. You probably only did that once. And then went, yeah, we're not going to do that one again. No. There is, of course, the thing that like you're making a microfilm on a small screen. Can we even afford to do a full floor set? That's still money. It still could be a few €100, and your budget might be whatever is in your pocket right now. So think about this carefully. I mean, you can sometimes fake kind of a boots on the ground shot, you know, like the person gets out their car or something like that. But you might need to be able to just go into a car park and do that. But if you've gone outside in a car park to do that, you're then going to need to match lighting in your VP studio to the way it was outside, and you've got a lot more post-production to do, or more production to do in the environment. So yeah, it's tricky. So where possible, I always write expecting the floor won't be shown. That's just my simple kind of thing here. These things are all possible on a small stage, but small stage often means small budget. And that's the complicated part there. Like, how much money do we have to do this? And as a writer, you're there to make things that are filmable. It's not your job to come up with the best thing, it's about the best filmable thing. Because you could have the best story in the world, but if we can't film it, it's never going to get made. So you've got to think about the limitations here. In terms of screen size is often going to mean low budget, like I say. So if you have to change the primary setup, like change a different location or move the entire stage around or something like that, it costs you more time and more money. If you've got props and environment and lighting matching, they're going to cost more time and more money. So it can be really useful for a writer to consider physical assets beforehand, kind of to avoid problems later on. So if you wrote in your thing, there's a Greek statue standing in the middle of it. It's a statue of Demeter. And you've actually got a statue that looks more like Plato. Can you change that to the one that looks like Plato because you've already got that? How important is Demeter for that particular scene? It might be. She's really important. Then how are you going to fix that? So think about the budget, think about the props that you've got, think about what assets you can use to create the story you want to tell. Okay, but the writers in the room are kind of going, the creatives, the artists in the room are going, but matter, as a writer, I must have no limitations on my creativity. I am an artist, damn you. Yeah, maybe, perhaps. Yeah, sort of. Sure. Yeah, I mean, it can be a good creative process to have unlimited freedom. It can be really empowering to just be able to write anything. That's why I write novels, because I can write anything in a novel. I can write space wars and robots and talking giraffes and anything you can think of, I can put in a novel, because I don't have to think about how some other artist is going to have to make this work. Limits are often inspirational. They really can be. So I want you to go along with me on this at the moment. I want you to imagine two people who are having an argument in a circus tent. I want you to do this right now. Two people having an argument in a circus tent. Who are they? What are they arguing about? I'm going to give you 15 seconds to think about this. Okay, so that was 15 seconds. I'm not going to ask you to share your idea, but did you come up with an idea of what's going on here? Just hold your hand up if you came up with an idea. Okay, so I'd say that's about 85, 90% of the room came up with an idea of that scene. Just in 15 seconds. You could write that right now. So I did this as well when I was writing this. I was like, okay, what am I going to have a come with? What's the thing I've never filmed before? Circus tent, two people arguing with it. I came up with the acrobat suspects the ring mistress has been skimming the ticket money. She's been stealing from the circus. The ring mistress is actually having an affair with the acrobat's wife. What happens next? I don't know, but it's enough to start writing a thing from. I could work with that to build a story. In 15 seconds, limitations gave me a foundation for a really dynamic scene. So embrace the limits of your resources. Limits can be inspirational. You don't have to stop just because somebody says you can only do this. You can only do this. You're like, cool. What's the best thing I can do with that? And if in 15 seconds you can come up with the basis of a story, just imagine what you could do with the whole afternoon. How many ideas you could come up with, and then just choose the best one. You could come up with so much stuff. Storytelling, in the end, though, is about characters. This is Story Genius by Lisa Cron. It's a good book. It didn't work for me as a method, but other people say this is one of the most inspirational books they've ever read. If you want to write a novel, have a look, check it out. It's good. And she does have, I think, one of the best definitions I've ever read of a story, which is a story is about how the things that happen affect someone in the pursuit of a difficult goal and how the person changes internally as a result. It's quite a wordy definition, but I think it's a really, really good definition of what actually a story is. Because no matter the fancy technology we've got, stories are about putting interesting characters in challenging scenarios and seeing how they cope and change based on that. That's really super important there. And I have to emphasize, virtual production must work in service of this. That is the point of all these technologies. These incredible things, these incredible technologists are doing. Still, it's about characters and telling a story. It's about showing things that are happening, affecting someone who is trying to do something difficult, and how the person changes internally as a result. I think that's the core of a good story, and you can do that in 1 minute. And of course then, we have to ask, well, why virtual production for this story? This has been touched on a few times today. And as mentioned in Shana's presentation earlier, it's like, is virtual production the right thing for this? I do also want to give a shout out to the students, Tori, Shana, and Robin earlier, because something they didn't so much play up is the fact that whilst doing this for the last few years, they have worked on so many little virtual production films. These are seasoned professionals who have done a hell of a lot of stuff over the time. They're not just doing research about this. They have worked on these sets. They've done clapperboards. They've done filming stuff. They've done audio stuff. They've helped with editing. They've organized things behind the scenes. If you want to give them a job, please do. They're fantastic. I highly recommend it. But I feel like they played themselves down a bit. Their experience is incredible. Anyway. So that question I think Shana raised earlier, why virtual production for this story? It's really important here. So also, why not VP? When is it a bad choice? So Salt, directed by Rob Savage, 2017, co-written by Rob Savage and Jed Shepard. It's one of my favorite microfilms. You can find it on YouTube, Salt short film, stuff like that. It's 2 minutes long, including the credits. That's really nice. And basically, you've got a mother and a daughter in a room full of medical devices and religious symbols. And lots of pots of salt. Okay, sure. The young girl is sick, the mother is very concerned. The daughter needs medicine, but the medicine is downstairs, and the daughters don't go downstairs. Okay. But there's a ring of salt around the bed. Circle of salt around the bed here. And as soon as the mother leaves the ring, a demon chases her. And this becomes an escalating chase between the demon and the mother, trying to get salt around the demon, trying to get salt around herself as she tries to get the medicine for her daughter. Holy shit, it's a roller coaster ride. It's so exciting in 2 minutes. It's incredible. Brilliant, brilliant film. She tries to escape, drawing new salt rings at an escalating battle against the demon. It's brilliantly simple premise. So damn simple, so relatable, so quickly established, and it's executed with great skill. I love it. And it absolutely would not work with virtual production at all. Holy shit, these shots would be so difficult throughout the whole fucking thing. It would be a nightmare to do. Too many close backgrounds, too many angle changes, too many flaws. Oh my God, no, just go to a house. It would be so much easier to go to a house and get that done. So for virtual production to make sense, it needs to make production easier. That's kind of the key part of this, because it is a big complicated thing. If you can add more complicated stuff, you need to be making it easier somewhere else. And there are some clear benefits to virtual production work, like huge, complex, remote, fantastical locations. Like if you were going to do your circus tent, you could have elephants in the background, you could have sword swallowers, you could have fire breathing, you could have jugglers juggling 15 objects, which they can't do. You know, you could do anything you want in the background, which is not physically easy on a small scope budget. You can have distant crowds across hillsides, and they will never get tired of battling and smacking each other with swords, and it's a lot cheaper than extras. You can have controllable time of day, weather and heat. These are all things you can do with virtual production, which are just going to be so much harder in the real world. So make it make sense. Make choices that make sense for you. These can all be inspiration for you as writers. But for a domestic location with lots of close-up walls, doors, floors, and stuff like Salt, VP is probably going to be the wrong choice. You can do domestic locations, but the wall is going to be further away. Everything's going to be a surprisingly large room. You could just go to a room. So why use VP for this story? What's it bringing to you? In terms of the writing craft, you've got a location, you've got time of day options, you've got some basic background, a foreground, a background set, you've got all that kind of stuff in mind, and now you need to write the damn thing. So it's always about two things, really. It's characters in a situation. That's what's going to happen here, and it's going to escalate from that. I would say worry less about explaining things. If you're going to be writing a microscript, 1 page, 2 pages maximum, don't try to explain everything. You don't go, hey, Bob, so since we've been digging on this moon for the last 20 years, I keep on hearing weird echoes in the cavern down there. Yes, me too. Have you heard the rumor about the demons that may be living on the moon? Oh, well, it's very interesting you might say that, Bob. Don't. Have 2 people go into the thing like, did you hear that? Oh, right, okay, got that. You didn't need all the explanation. Like, inexperienced writers typically add more exposition than is needed. Trust your filmmaking teams, trust your actors, trust your audience to get what's going on, or to just fill in the blanks. And sometimes the way they fill in the blanks is going to be even better than anything you could ever think of, and they're going to think you're a genius for implying it all to them. Oh, brilliant. Good, I'll take that credit, thank you very much. Yeah, I really meant that, yes. Yeah. Salt, for example, has 0 script, almost 0 script. The situation speaks. You just see this and you go, whoa, that's something going on there. And it just gets better and better as it goes. So give us lead characters in a challenging situation, and that's kind of enough. Have them fight it. Have an outcome, have an ending. For short films, though, brevity is the key. I would say leave the end hanging. Use a cliffhanger, or preferably, I would say a cliffhanger or a punchline that you can. Just remember, you're not making a feature film. You don't need to wrap up everything as a story character arc. It's an appetizer. Hopefully, someone might watch your tiny little short film and go, I'm going to give them money to make a feature film out of that. That's such a cool premise. I can see where that can go. Or I want to see what happens next. Give them money to make it. Or you just have something cool and viral. If you want cool and viral, probably more a punchline. If you want to just make something fucking awesome, cliffhanger. Either way, you don't need to finish the whole thing. You just need to get to a cool point and the audience be left going, what happens next? Job done. Fuck yes, you've grabbed them. Structure. Keep it simple. If you have an objective, conflict, and an outcome, you have a story. Congratulations, you've written a scene. Get 2 people. They want different things. One of them is probably going to win, or neither of them is going to win, and a third thing is necessary. You have got a scene. Congratulations, it was worth watching. If these things don't happen, it wasn't worth watching. Probably. And then your character is going to be forced to adapt and change. And that's enough for a great short film. This is enough. You don't need anything more complicated. Don't make it too difficult. You're not making Citizen Kane. You're having fun making a microfilm. It can be joyful. Filmmaking can be joyful, remember? I know it's hard work, but my God, it can be good. And then freedom. The important thing. Perfect is the enemy of finished. You know, it's if you're trying to make everything absolutely immaculate and perfect and the most perfect thing, but you're never going to damn well make the thing. Make the thing. It's good enough. Just go, do it. You can learn from this and do it better next time. We learn from every single project, and victory comes from making and finishing things, showing them to people, being proud of what you've done together. As a writer, your control is very limited about what you get to do with these things. Once the project gets a director and a team, they carry the vision. Unless you are the director as well, you have to let it go. Like, I've written comedy micro shorts, which the team took and turned into horror. I've written horror micro shorts, which the team took and turned into comedy. It confused the hell out of me, but they had fun doing it, and the films were cool, so why not? It's weird, but sure. Embrace that process. Give the team freedom to take the story and take it where you've never expected. And then you get something fun and educational and cool and shareable. It's fun. I like it. So, in conclusion, storytelling in all its forms, it is a craft. It is a craft. We all know it is. Writing, my early writing is not nearly as good as my current writing, and hopefully in 20 years, I'll look back at this and go, man, matter was shit back in 2025. It just is a process. You learn as you go. Understand the tech and resources you've got there, the limits and the possibilities that you have around you. Writers have to think as part of the team to get the best collective result. We have to know what's going on around to bring everybody together, united behind a vision. Learn to write small. Focus on characters and scene structure. That's the thing that's going to make this work. And I hope this has given you useful food for thought, inspiration for your work. Go have fun doing stuff. Thank you very much for listening. That's all the main points I made there. Thank you.
Thank you, Mata. Wow,
Yeah.
you're one of my favorite presenters,
Yay.
for sure. We do have maybe 2-3 minutes for a question, if anyone has.
If you want to see a thing, if you want to try writing stuff, here's a great exercise. This is a lot of fun if you want to write things. This was actually used during the Panorama workshop, I believe, last year. And it comes from like improv acting exercises and stuff like that. Really cool fun. I've written stories using this. It's so much fun. You can come up with this great story in 10 minutes, and you will then want to make it. Highly recommended. That's a good one. There's another one, which is, this is actually taught to like primary school children, how to analyze a story. There's somebody wanted but so method. Then how does the story end? So this is actually taught to kids and how to learn things, how to analyze stories, what happens in a story. I find it fun. When I write novels, I do this per chapter. And I make sure that every single chapter is having people who want things, and they don't get that thing easily, so they have to change a little bit, and then the story goes on. And so you have this continually evolving thing in every chapter of the book, and it makes it a lot more interesting to read through. And obviously, hopefully, that all contributes to the bigger story, and by the end, that could be the pitch for your entire novel, but that's also the pitch for every single chapter. Highly recommend it, lots of fun.
Thank you again.
Yeah.
Big round of applause to Mata.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you.